y'all, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, thanks so much for joining. Today I am bringing you another episode of our Crybaby Whims Legacy, and as you can see, we are just jumping right back in with Cassiopeia and the children, and she is just here chatting on the computer, but she does need to go on in there and help our little Davis, who does look like he is pretty sad because he's scared from these thunderstorms. So she's going to try to just go ahead and give him a little bit of comfort here and tell him, you know what, little buddy, you're going to be okay. I promise. That thunderstorm, it can't get you, not in here. So she's going to give him a little bit of a hug and just say, everything's going to be okay. If you are not part of that Raven family, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on future episodes when they go live on the channel. And we have a message. Today, the principal is visiting Tevin's class. Everyone is to be on their best behavior and not interrupt. Unfortunately, someone's pelting him with something. He's going to go ahead and ask that kid to stop, but unfortunately, the teacher is furious and she's going to send him out into the hallway because, you know, Tevin is part of the juvenile delinquents in his school, so I'm thinking that she probably thought he was in on that catastrophe of disruption in the class. So he's having himself a little bit of a bad day at school because he got punished for something he didn't really even do. And as you can see, Cassiopeia and Davis are just having a little bit of fun playtime here. Then she's trying to cheer him up because he is petrified of this little storm that's going on. Well, I wouldn't say it's little, actually. It's a pretty decent sized storm. But it's just not working out. He is really, really sad and really scared about this storm. And she's trying her hardest to get him to calm down, but it's just not working out. He's just not liking this storm. So what she's going to do is try to distract him by teaching him some of his basic needs with some flashcards. So let's go ahead and get started on some of that. She's having a bit of a paranoid moment. We know that Cassiopeia tends to have these paranoid moments. But girl, you don't have anything to be paranoid anymore. You don't have anything going on. I mean, you don't have Elias, you don't have Greg. There's really nothing for her to be paranoid about anymore. But she still does have these tendencies to where she does get paranoid off and on. And I don't know, maybe she's just paranoid by nature. And it didn't necessarily really even have anything to do with what her behaviors were like before, and we just thought it was her being paranoid because she was doing bad things, but maybe she's just a paranoid person in general. So Davis is just doing some flashcards and he's doing pretty decent, but I don't think this is going to work either. He's like, I don't want to do it. I'm tired, but I can't sleep because I'm scared. But he does need to get himself some rest because he is tired and she needs to get herself some food because she is hungry. So we are going to go ahead and let them get on with some of their needs here. Go ahead, Cassiopeia, and just wrap these flashcards up because he is not feeling it. And honestly, he's about to pitch himself a bit of a tantrum, and nobody wants to see Davis when he has himself a little bit of a meltdown. If you thought that Carina could pitch a fit, you haven't seen Davis when he throws himself a tantrum. And it did say that Tevin is in the range to get the good manners trait, so that's great news for us. Now that Cassiopeia has finished with these flashcards, she is just going to go ahead and clean up some of these dirty dishes and get them out of the fridge, and then she will go ahead and get herself something to eat. And Davis is going to go ahead and go to the washroom, and then he should feel better after doing that. He actually isn't as tired as I thought he was. He just isn't wanting to learn anything. He's like, I just don't want to learn my basic needs. I'm just not in the mood for learning right now. And it says that Carina is in the range to earn her responsibility trait. So we love that for her, and both of the children are home from school. So we are going to get them breezing through their homework. But as you can see, neither one of them look like they're in the greatest of moods. Look at little Carina. She is in a very, very bad mood. Look at that face. Goodness. What is wrong with you, girl? Oh my heavens. It says, don't ruin my clothes. Troublemakers are always playing pranks. If they mess with Carina's outfit, there will be a problem. And she needs amusement, so she is really needing to do something fun. And as I said, Tevin had himself a really bad day at school, and he's scared of this thunderstorm, but it says he got sent into the hall. Being bothered in class is bad enough, but getting in trouble for it is infuriating. So he had a very bad day at school today, but other than that, he's feeling pretty confident, and he's trying not to let it get him down. And we have Landon upstairs, who is screaming his bloody head off. So really, Cassiopeia is she's getting run ragged, that girl. She just is. She's been trying to get a little bit of boxing in down here. But Mama, you gotta go upstairs and take care of that crying baby. It's time for him to be loved on. He needs you to change his stinky diaper. So she is just going to go ahead and have herself a little bit of shower here after her workout. And then we will go ahead and Mom's calling, wanting us to come over. So we're going to go head over to Mom's because we need to let her know about the separation. So we're just going to go ahead and tell Claire, you know what, Mom? I know that we've told Dad, and I'm sure he's told you, but, you know, Elias and I aren't in together anymore. We've temporarily separated. And she's like, you know what, honey, that's sad news, but hey, you know the best way to get over romantic disappointments? Forget them by flirting with new love interests. Give me a call anytime, and we'll go to a bar to see if anyone catches your eye. Bruh. And Cassiopeia's like, holy shit. So she's come on back home. She's like, I can't believe Mom was so, like, laid back about that. Like, I figure she would be like, oh, no, you've got to work things out with Elias, because we know that Claire actually gets on with Elias pretty good. She really does like Elias. But for Claire to be like, oh, Cassiopeia, you know, a good way to get over one is to get under another. Like, what? Oh my God. So she wasn't expecting that from her mom, but that's what she got. Like, her dad was all like, work things out. And her mom was like, find someone new. Oh my God, Landon, could you please shut the hell up? All right, we're going to get her out of bed, and we're going to have her come over here and do some super efficient baby care, because this baby will not stop bloody screaming his head off. So she is just taking care of Landon, as you can see, and she's like, please, for the love of God, stop crying. So she's just going to do some really super efficient baby care and then put him back to bed, and then she's going to go ahead and deal with her own self for a little bit. She's like, oh my God, finally some peace and quiet. Oh, all of the children are in bed, and she's like, okay, back to bed for herself. It is late at night, and Carina is up. She is just having herself some French toast. We know this girl loves herself some French toast. Every time she turns around, she's eating herself some French toast. It must be like her favorite meal. She is overthinking, and she is having some negative thoughts. She's questioning things in her head, and I think it's just because she is really missing her dad. And she's like, why hasn't he called? Why hasn't he come by? Why hasn't he, come to get us and let us come and see him? And she's not understanding, like, that in a separation, like, there's a certain time that you can actually go and see your dad, and it's not as simple as just, dad coming over whenever he wants. And she's really struggling. And Cassiopeia here is finally up. It is bright and early in the morning, and she is just going to go over here and deal with little Landon before Landon starts going ahead and screaming. She's going to head that off at the pass. Smart, Cassiopeia. Very smart. We love to see that kind of initiative. Yes, we do. Usually I would say if the baby's quiet, you should leave the baby alone. But in Landon's case, please head that off at the pass, because this child has one hell of a set of lungs on him, and we don't want to deal with that. So she's just going to go ahead and rock him, and then she's going to go downstairs and have herself a little bit of cake. She's feeling a little bit of hungriness, and she's opted for some cake. You know how the Sims are, okay? I can't explain it. We all just know how it is. So she is having a little bit of cake here, and then she is going to go right back upstairs and deal with Landon, because Landon does need to be aged up, because lo and behold, it is actually Landon's birthday. So we are going to age up little Landon and then give him his toddler makeover. So Landon, it is time for your birthday. Happy birthday, Landon. And Landon has aged up, so let's randomize his traits, and he got fussy, tiny troublemakers, and bubbly. These toddlers are very happy and full of energy. Okay, that is, a fussy and bubbly child. You know, fussy does not at all surprise me about this one, but let's go ahead and jump into Cass and give him his makeover and show you what's up. So this is Landon after his makeover, and I think he is absolutely adorable. He is our Gen 2 heir, and so I have gone ahead and decked him out in all of his pink and white, because pink and white are the colors of our Gen 2. So this is his formal outfit and his sleepwear. He's so precious. His party outfit and his swimwear and his hot weather outfit. If he could be any cuter, he might melt my heart. And his cold weather outfit. Is he not just the most precious thing you have ever seen in your life? So she's like, all right, little buddy, let's go ahead and take you downstairs and get you something to eat. So she's going to take him down, and we're going to throw him. Okay, we're not going to throw him. We're going to just put him in the high chair, and she's going to get him a little bit of something to eat, because he is feeling hungry this morning. So she's going to get him something to eat. So she's going to put him in the high chair and get him a bowl of applesauce, and we're just going to give him a little bit of breakfast this morning. And he's like, applesauce. Num, 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 num. And then what does he do with this little shit? Goes and yeets the damn applesauce into the floor. And she's like, let me tell you something. We don't do that. And remember now, when Tevin did that with his peas, he had Elias here to kind of stick up for him and be like, now Cassiopeia. But Landon doesn't have that luxury. So she's like, that's all you're getting. You're not getting nothing else. So you're getting out of this high chair, and that's it. You're hungry. Like, I'm not giving you nothing else. That was your breakfast. Sorry, but this is just the way it goes. You eat what you're given, or you don't eat. So the end. And he's like, what? And she's like, applesauce was your breakfast. You ate one bite of it, and then you threw that nonsense on the floor. I'm having to clean up your mess. That just is what it is. I love you, I do, but we don't act like that in this house, and you're going to learn. He's like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, Mama don't play. No, Mama don't play. She's got too many kids for you guys to be acting a fool. So they are going to go ahead and learn some new words here. So she's just teaching Landon some new words. And now we have gone across town, because it is time for some visitation with the older three and their dad. And as you can see, Elias is super happy to see his kids. So they are actually come over for the evening. They're going to spend the night. Had a nice day at school, she says. Okay, so they're going to spend the night with Elias. And so finally they get to have a daddy visitation, which is lovely for us, because the three children have really missed their dad. And so they're come over, and this is his house. He lives on the other side of town here in Newcrest. And so they're just going to come and spend the evening with their dad. It may not be a whole weekend, but they're starting things out kind of slow. And Cassiopeia was like, you can have them for one evening. We'll see how things go. And he's like, that's absolutely fine. My work schedule doesn't really accommodate me having them for longer than that. And she's like, well, you know, it's Davis's birthday, so you guys can spend, you can spend the night together and have him for the next day and celebrate the birthday. And he's like, okay, that sounds great. So he's gonna have them tonight, or for the Friday overnight, and then Saturday through the day. and then she would just get them. So they're just playing here, having a good old time. He's loving on the kids, and they're just thrilled to be with their dad. He's thrilled to have the kids. Everyone is so happy to be together again, and the kids are like, oh, it's so great to see Dad. You know, they've really, really missed him so much, and, you know, I think part of them were like thinking, you know, being with Mom really, really sucks because, you know, Dad was always the one that was comforting them, and Dad was always the one that, you know, they would always go to. You know, yes, they love their mom, and obviously they love both of their parents, but, you know, they were really, really close with Elias, and so they really, really missed him. And so while they were living with their mom and they loved their mom, they missed that other parent. And so they kind of had that thinking of the grass is greener on the other side, and they're missing that other parent. So now they're here and they're like, oh, everything's going to be so great because we're here with Dad, and we've got this new house here, and we're with the parent that, you know, we really, really missed. And so they're really excited to be here with their dad. So they are thrilled that they're spending the evening with their dad. And everyone here is just going to go ahead and head on into the house, and we're going to, you know, work on some of their needs here. Now, do mind you that Elias keeps strange work hours, and so he is tired. So the kids have shown up. It is 10 o'clock in the morning, but he's tired. So he's like, okay, kids, I'm going to bed. And they're like, what? And he's like, you're going to have to fend for yourselves for a little while. Dad needs rest. So they've shown up. He's loved on them, and now he's going to bed, and they're basically got to fend for themselves. So the two big kids have gone on inside to fend for themselves, and everyone has forgotten about little Davis. Little Davis, who is hungry and dirty and is left outside alone in this new part of town all by himself. And once again, Davis has been forgotten. And look at him. He's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? So it is now 1:30 in the afternoon, and Elias is up from his nap, and he is making a bit of a salad because he's just now realized that he hasn't fed his kids, and they're all starving. And he doesn't really have a whole lot of cooking skill because Cassiopeia was always the one that cooked in the house, but he has to feed his kids. And usually he orders in, but he doesn't want to have to order in for everybody because, you know, he wants to try to do what's right and feed them. So he's just going to whip up a garden salad here, and he'll call everyone to a meal. And unfortunately, you know, he didn't really think ahead about his kids coming to visit. So he does have beds for everyone, but he doesn't have, you know, like a potty for Davis. He doesn't have, you know, toys for them. He doesn't have anything really that they can do here. He just really has beds for them. So there's nothing really for them to really do here at this house because it's just a new house that he just moved into, and it was just him. And so really all he needed was for himself, you know, and he's not around really anyway because he works a lot. So there's not really a whole lot for the kids to do, and there's no potty, so Davis is being forced to use his diaper. So poor Davis is once again just being neglected. This poor child. So he's toddling in here because he was being called, he was called to the meal, and he's going to go ahead and get himself his bowl of salad, and then he's going to have to get Dad, hopefully, to give him a bath because he has got a green cloud of stench following him. And the children are like, Dad, we're so glad that you had us come over. You know, we've really missed you. And he's like, well, guys, I've missed you too. And they're like, what are we going to do tonight? And he's like, well, honestly, we're not really going to be able to do a whole lot. Dad's really tired. I really need to get some rest. I'm going to go to the washroom really quick, and then we can continue this discussion. And they're like, well, but what are we going to do? And they're like, well, guys, we're just going to hang out at the house. But what are we going to do? So the kids are just kind of walking around kind of like, okay, well, what are we going to do in this house? Like it's a beautiful house, and it's a big house. But like, what are we gonna do here? Like, there's not a whole lot we can really do, you know? Davis is just like, I'm just glad I finally got fed. Oh, and now I have to use my diaper. Look how sad he is about having to pee in his diaper. Oh, he's just so pitiful, this poor baby. Oh, he's so sad about it. He's sad because he's so dirty. All right, so we're going to get Elias to give him a bath. So we're heading upstairs to give a bath. And he's like, okay, little Davis, let's go ahead and get you into the bathtub. And as you can see, Carina had already had a bath, and now she's trapped. So we'll just go ahead and teleport her over here. Nothing to see here. Okay. And Elias is just going ahead and giving Davis a nice good clean. And he's like, I'm sorry, buddy. I know you're so nasty. Let me just go ahead and get you all washed up. And then you can go ahead and you can get yourself to bed. We're all going to go to bed. Mind you, it's only 4:50 p.m. in the afternoon. And he's like, we're all going to bed. And they're like, but it's so early. And he's like, yeah, but Dad's had a really long day. And I just need some rest. And Carina's like, okay, this is the weirdest time for us to go to sleep for the night, but that's fine. So it is now 9:21 p.m. Everyone's had to sleep and they're up. And so as you can see, they're keeping really, really strange hours here at Dad's. Claire has shown up at the house because she called and she was like, can I come over and just check on the kids? And, you know, it's summer cleaning and I'll just want to make sure that the kids are doing good and that you're doing good. I want to see your new place. And he's like, yeah, come on over. So she's come over just to check on things to make sure everything's good. And as I said, Claire does get on with Elias. Like, they're actually pretty close, you know, as far as like a father and a mother-in-law goes, you know, like, they're close. A son-in-law and, yeah. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. They're close. They're pretty close. So they're just visiting here and kind of chatting, and they're celebrating this summer cleaning holiday, even though no one's cleaning and no one's doing anything, because to be completely honest, only thing that's really happening in this house is everyone's doing a lot of sleeping. And Elias is acting a lot, like, awfully strange when it comes to Claire. Like, he was just asking her if she liked hanging out with him, and she's like, nope. And he's like, oh. Now, mind you, he's also hanging out in his gaunch around her. Like, you could have put on some clothes, Elias. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to try to talk with Claire a little bit more, I think. So he's just going to say to her, like, I really appreciate you coming over to help with the kids and to check on me. Did Cassiopeia send you? And she's going to be like, Cassiopeia did not send me. I just wanted to check on my grandkids. And it's not that I don't think that you can handle it. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And he's like, well, here, have a key to the house. You can come over anytime. And she's like, oh, I really appreciate that. That's very comforting. And he's like, look, Claire, I just want you to know I'm really glad to have met you. And, you know, I really just, you know, do you really enjoy spending time with me? And she's like, I don't really understand what it is that you're trying to say to me, Elias, but, you know, I don't really want to hurt your feelings. If you're trying to be, like, smooth right now, like, you do know I'm married to your wife's father. And he's like, right, exactly. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to cross any lines with you. I thought when you came over here that maybe I read the signals wrong. And she's like, you absolutely read the signals wrong. I just wanted to check on the children, and I wanted to make sure that you were okay. It was nothing more than that. And he was like, oh, okay, absolutely. So Elias is clearly going through some things where he's embarrassed because he's like, okay, I can't believe that I misread those signals. And she's like, I was just trying to be a good grandmother, and a mother-in-law to you and make sure that everyone was okay. You know, it can't be easy to be now in a situation where you're a single dad. And I know it's been really hard on Cassiopeia being a single mom. And she's making do. But I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay. And he's like, well, I really appreciate that. And as far as Cassiopeia being a single mom, I'm sure it's not easy on her, but this was her decision. And she's like, well, you know, Elias, I understand that this was her decision, but she didn't come to this decision by herself. And he's like, okay, that's fair enough. That's probably true. This definitely was, you know, a decision that both of us kind of entered into. Now, meanwhile, downstairs, as you'll come to see, there is a girl down here. And Elias is going to come on down, and you're going to see that this is Liberty Lee. And Claire's already come down and seen that there's a girl down here. And she's like, oh, I didn't realize that you had company. And he's like, hi, Liberty, how are you doing today? And she's like, I'm great, Elias, how are you? And he's going to be like, I'm doing well. And she's going to say, like, how was your day at work? And he's going to say, I had an amazing day at work. Everything was as I wanted. It's so happy that, you know, I'm so happy that you care about my day at work. You know, because, you know, even though Cassiopeia and him were together, she never really asked about work, and she never really cared about how his day at work was, because she just took all of those kind of little things for granted. And, so he's like, you know, my day at work was great. And thank you so much for caring enough to ask about how my day was. And he's going to give her hands a kiss, and he's going to say, like, you know, I really appreciate you checking on me and for coming over. And, you know, I didn't expect to see you today because I have the kids. And she's like, I know that you didn't expect to see me, but I wanted to go ahead and come over and just make sure that you're okay and that you didn't need any help. I wasn't actually expecting to see Claire here, though. And he's like, well, funny, I wasn't expecting to see Claire here either. And she's like, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag now. And he's like, yeah, it's okay, though. I mean, honestly, I think that everyone was going to find out sooner or later that we were together. So it might as well, you know, be fine. It's fine. And she's like, okay, well, as long as you are okay with it. And he's like, well, we might as well go ahead and discuss our future. If everyone's going to find out about us, we might as well go ahead and discuss it ourselves. Like, do we have a future together, you and I? I mean, I really do like you, and I really am attracted to you, and I really do want to be with you. And she's like, well, you know, relationships are hard, and you are still with Cassiopeia. I think that really you need to figure out what it is that you're wanting to do with her before you and I start discussing where we're going with our relationship. And he's like, honestly, I don't think that there's really anything left with Cassiopeia and my relationship. To be completely honest, you know, I think her and I are at a place where that relationship has probably seen all that it's going to see. And she's like, oh, well, does Cassiopeia know that? And he's like, well, no, but I have tried to reach out to Cassiopeia several times, and she kind of has given me the cold shoulder. And she's like, well, I mean, in all fairness, you know, Cassiopeia probably needs time to accept what was said and done, and, you know, these things don't just happen overnight. And he's like, maybe, but, you know, I wasn't expecting to meet you in the process. And she's like, well, no, I agree. That's probably put a little bit of a road bump in it. And he's like, well, it really has, because, you know, you and I really do, you know, get along, and I really see a future with you, and that's going to make things a little difficult with Cassiopeia, don't you think? And she's like, well, yeah, I do think that. So, as you can see, he is in this place where he is starting to have feelings for Liberty Lee, and he is wanting to be in a relationship with Liberty, and yet he is still with Cassiopeia. And the difficulty is that, you know, he's not really sure how how he's supposed to approach that whole situation of that love triangle. So he's going to talk to Claire about it and just say, like, can I get some love advice for you? Now, mind you, Claire's love advice for Cassiopeia was to get under someone else. So she's going to tell him, look, you know, if you've found someone else, then I think you should move on. Obviously, you and Cassiopeia have your differences, and the damage that was done was the damage that was done. You should probably co-parent together and just leave it at that. Sometimes love just isn't enough, and in you guys' situation, there was a lot of things that were said that you guys might not be able to come back from. If in the future something were to happen and you guys were to get back together, great. But as of right now, there's a lot of wounds that need time to heal. And if you've moved on already, then maybe you might just want to go ahead and seek that. So he's going to hug her and say, thank you so much for, you know, your advice. And I really appreciate that. You know, it really means a lot to me that you would give me your honest opinion. And I truly appreciate that. So he has now talked to Liberty Lee, and he has now talked to Claire's about this whole love situation that he's in, and he's feeling a lot more confident that moving forward with Liberty Lee is something that he definitely wants to do. But then he has the whole, you know, situation of the children to deal with, because he doesn't know how they feel about the fact that he is now in a relationship with someone else. And they are in a position where they know that he's obviously not with their mom and he's living here. But I think they had hoped maybe in the future that their dad might come back home. And he has now convinced Claire to go in there and cook something. So she's in the kitchen cooking a cake. So, I think that he at some point is going to have the conversation with the kids that, you know, there is someone else in his life that they are going to have to deal with, you know, and, you know, I don't know how that's really going to go over well. I think Tevin might be okay with it, but I think Carina is probably going to be a person that probably wouldn't be very accepting of the fact that her dad has someone else. And so I think that Carina would be like, I don't want another mom, and I don't like this person that you're trying to bring into our lives. And I think that she would be very, very outspoken about that and just say, like, you know, what are you doing? And why are you bringing this new person in our lives? And, you know, how dare you try to replace mom with this new person? You know, I'm going to complain. She's going to complain about the new step-parent. I don't want to have a new stepmom. I don't want to have a new person in our life. And look, he's like, oh, Carina, you don't understand, honey. You're too young to understand what all's going on. And she's like, don't tell me I'm too young. I'm the oldest child. I understand, right? Carina's upset because she knows what's going on with this new person. And she's like, I can't believe that this is going on. And she's like, I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to save lives and be there for other people that need me. She's like, I am mature and I understand what life is all about. Don't treat me like I'm just some little child that doesn't understand things. And he's like, I'm not saying that you don't understand things, Carina, but in this situation, you are too young to understand the comings and goings of love. And so he's getting angry, and they're arguing. Everyone's getting a little bit heated, and it's becoming a little bit of an argument, and it's not at all a situation of what Elias thought this family visit was going to be like. He thought this was going to be a nice family visit with his children, and it's turning out to be ultimate chaos because the children are not getting along with him at all. And he's like, oh, you know, what have I done? What is what is going on with my kids and why are they acting like this? But, it's because they came over here to spend time with their dad, and he has spent all of his time either sleeping or with Liberty Lee, and very little time with his actual children. And now she said she wants to go someplace, just the two of them, so she wants some alone time. So they're going to actually go upstairs and spend a little bit of alone time together and have a little bit of a rendezvous, if you know what I mean. So they are just going upstairs, and he's giving her a little bit of a cuddle, and then they are going to have their very first kiss. They are going downstairs to the bedroom because they have every intention of going downstairs and kissing, and then they're going to have themselves a woohoo. But then he realizes to himself, oh my God, I have got to go to the washroom, something fierce. So that gets put on hold because he has to go pee really, really bad, and he's about to go to the washroom on himself. So he's going to go ahead and use the washroom, which has caused a little bit of a delay in the woohoo department, but that's quite all right. I'm sure they will definitely get around to the woohoo. But Carina here is just going to go ahead and have herself a little bit of cake. She is starving. All of the kids are really, really hungry. And if you haven't noticed, no one in the house has cooked anything except for cake. So all of the kids are just eating cake because they're hungry. And no one in the house has cooked anything aside from Claire, who made that cake upon Elias's convincing that she needed to cook for the family. And cake was the option of choice. So Carina is extremely upset by the fact that not only is there no food in the house for the children to eat, but there's this girl over here, and she's just really upset by the whole turn of events of this whole visitation that has gone down. I mean, Tevin's drinking coffee for the love of Pete. What is really going on in this house? And she's like, no, absolutely not. We have even Davis here who's starving to death, and Davis is eating cake. And she's like, I can't take it anymore. And here's this lady who's just walked down here. She's having cake too. And Carina's like, no, absolutely not. I can't take it anymore. This is not what I expected when I came over to my dad's. And so Carina, being as upset as she is, has decided that she's going to go ahead and she's going to call Cassiopeia, and she's going to have Cassiopeia come over to the house because she's like, Mom, I want to come home. Will you please come and come pick us up? No, I don't want to stay at Dad's anymore. Please come get us. So Cassiopeia's like, okay, honey, I'll come pick you guys up. So Cassiopeia will be right over. And Carina's like, thank God. Carina is realizing the grass was not greener on the other side. If anything, the grass over here at Dad's house is a lot worse. So Cassiopeia is on her way, and we are now just waiting for her to show up to come get the kids. And she has now officially arrived at the house, and now we have Claire here and Liberty Lee and Cassiopeia all under the same roof. And she's come in and she's like, hi kids, what's going on? Why do you called me over here? And Tevin's like, I didn't know that you were coming, Mom. And she's like, well, Carina called. And Claire's like, oh, hi honey. And she's like, hi, I'm just coming to get the kids. Carina called and said that she wanted to come home. And Claire's like, oh dear. Okay, yeah, I expected something like that to happen. Well, that's fine. I completely understand. And she's like, Carina, what happened? And she's like, I think, Mom, that you should talk to Dad about that. I just want to go home. Can I just go home? And Cassiopeia's like, absolutely, you can go home, sweetheart. I mean, of course you can. It's your home. And Carina's like, thank God. She's like, okay, Mom, what happened? And she's like, well, honey, I think it's something that you might want to talk to Elias about, but let's just say, and Cassiopeia's like, who are you? And she's like, oh, hi, my name's Liberty. And she's like, oh, I see. Okay, I think I understand now. All right, well, that's fine. Yes, go ahead and go home, Carina. It's fine, sweetheart. Mom will deal with this. Don't you worry about it. It's fine. Everything will be fine. And so she's going to go ahead and she's going to give, and the kids are going to go ahead and they're going to head home. And Cassiopeia is just going to have a nice little chat. Probably not so nice, but she's going to have a chat with Elias. And she's going to say, Elias, what in the hell has happened? I sent the children over here for you to spend time with them. And then you had the nerve and the gall to avoid them and not spend time with them, and you spent your entire weekend wooing some girl. Look, I don't care who you spend your time with or who you're with. That's fine. We're separated and you can be with whoever you want to be with. But when I send the children over here, I fully expect you to spend your time with your children, not with some girl. It was Davis's birthday. You were supposed to be spending the day with Davis. And he's like, oh shit, I forgot about Davis's birthday. And she's like, clearly you forgot about Davis's birthday. Did you also forget that the children need toilets and toys? Did you also forget about the fact that they need food outside of cake? And he's like, don't start with me, okay? This isn't easy for me. Oh, you think it's easy for me? It's not easy being a single parent, but it'd be a lot easier if you spent a little bit of time trying, Elias, as opposed to spending all of your time trying to bed some girl. So she's extremely upset with the fact that he did not do what he needed to do as a father while he had his children. And she's like, at the end of the day, Elias, I expected more from you, and I'm extremely disappointed. So I'm taking the children home. And he's like, fine, you do what you have to do. Look at him. He's not even bothered. So she's going to head on home so that she can take care of her children and so that we can go ahead and celebrate Davis's birthday, because today is Davis's birthday and he is aging up into a child. And he, once again, unfortunately, had been forgotten. The poor dear. All right, so we are back home. And she is just going to go ahead and tell Davis that he's going to be okay. We're going to pick him up and we're going to take him in here and we're going to take him to his cake and let him blow out his candles. So let's pick up little Davis and take him in here and get him his cake and let him blow out his candles and become a big boy. So we'll get him this lovely cake here. And we're just going to go ahead and put it on the counter and put some candles on it. And then we will help him blow out those candles and watch him age up into a big boy. All right, Davis, it is time for your birthday, sweet boy. Mommy's going to help you blow out the candles. I'm so sorry that Daddy forgot about your birthday, but Mommy didn't forget. And we are going to blow them out now. Happy birthday! Okay, here we go. And Davis is aging up. And let's randomize his traits. And he got proper. These Sims tend to disapprove of other Sims' improper behavior, such as mean or mischievous socials, but find themselves happier in formal outfits. He also got cat lover and squeamish. And this is his everyday outfit. And his formal, athletic, sleepwear, party, swimwear, hot weather, and cold weather. But I am going to go ahead and leave this episode here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when a new episode goes live. And I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, I am going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, Ravens.